Potosí's ultra-modern bus terminal echoed to the sound of bus destinations being called out. The beautiful old city of Sucre is the official capital of Bolivia, although La Paz is the de facto capital. I checked into the Kultur Berlin backpacker hostel, which for 2 nights a week became a nightclub. The first day after my arrival in Sucre was a Sunday, so I took the very popular tourist bus to Tarabuco, 65 kilometres away, for the Sunday market. This is the church on the main square in Tarabuco. The market is a very colourful affair, and rather than talking about it, I'm going to illustrate it with a song called Sweet Juanita, which is about life in the high Andes.
In a huddled village on a plateau that sits so high and dry, surrounded by white peaks that make a break for the sky, lives Juanita, 9 years old, still quite small for her age. Her life is harsh and hard, her poverty is a cage. Juanita totes her sister through the market square. The heavy burden on her back is just about as much as she can bear. In the rarefied mountain speaks the ancient Quechua language of the Incas of her past, who built great roads and cities, built them well, built to last. The land is steep and stony, drought and cold a constant foe. It's always such a fight to make the crops thrive and grow. Juanita guards the flocks as they graze the sparse tough grass. Sweet Juanita follows behind across the rock-strewn mountain pass. She'll never get to know what it's like in Paris. Pressed down hard upon their heads, the people from the mountains leave at dawn from their beds. They trickle through the gorges, skirt the bare mountainsides, heading for the town, taking short, steady strides.
After fading out the song, we return to Sucre and the Iglesia de San Francisco by day and beautifully lit at night. Next day, 3 of us from the hostel took a tour in the Cordillera de las Frailes. We're headed right down there. The area was rich in wild flowers, including this begonia, the calceolaria, and this plant whose name I'm not sure of. The trail we were using predates the Incas and is maintained by the local villagers, for which we had to pay a fee on arrival in the village. In Maragua, we visited a local weaver. This is very high quality stuff and very slow to produce.
See, she doesn't have any guide or something, a design to see how to make the weaving. She knows. Everything is on her mind.
This piece took us 6 months to make.
4 months.
You turn it round. Turn it round to show the other face.
No.
That's it, black on the other side. Okay. Turn it round again.
Here we have the
It
devil.
was very expensive. She also had these colourful bracelets, which were much more affordable.
The blue one?
Yeah.
Do I have blue ring? No, I have blue ring.
This is her kitchen. Next time you buy a new house and you don't like the colour of the units in the kitchen, and you tear them all out and send them to landfill, remember this. Heading upwards from Maragua, we encountered a gully in the road that even a 4-wheel drive couldn't negotiate safely, so we had to repair it ourselves. We're heading up there. This spectacular area is full of geological formations that are natural but look uncannily man-made. The final part was on foot through a field of potatoes, eventually arriving at our objective, fossilised dinosaur footprints. The countryside is very dry, but provides just enough grazing for a few sheep, cattle and goats. And so back to Sucre, a really spectacular journey. We're heading down to that bridge and then way up the other side into those mountains. At Cultural Berlin, the room rate includes a superb breakfast spread. Very healthy, lots of fruit, cereals, yoghurt, strawberry jam with real strawberries. One of the best breakfasts I've ever seen. After breakfast, music in the dorm. After combing her hair, Barbara from Mendoza in Argentina decided it was time for mate. This is drunk very, very hot, unlike the cold mate drunk in Paraguay. In Bolivia, protest marches are part of the fabric of society. This one involves all kinds of things. Don't change your backpack for a baby for school children. The police here, anti-road accidents. Anti-alcohol and drugs. Domestic violence against women. He who hurts you doesn't love you. After watching the procession, it was time for a cheap lunch at my favourite place, a Commodore over the main market. My favourite soup, peanut soup, sopa de mani. In the market itself, there was a big display of medicinal plants. Often with the local names and the uses to which they can be put. Highly decorated cakes are very popular in Bolivia and can often be bought on the street slice by slice. The centres of most Bolivian towns and villages are kept very clean, but this is the only time that I've seen a palm frond being used. In Sucre, as in much of South America, shoeshine boys are still a common sight. Sitting by a street stall all day beside the heavy traffic is no one's idea of pleasure, but I always try and buy something from them. There were various activities I hadn't managed to film on my day trip to Tarabuco, so I went back, but this time I stayed for a few days. This is the view over the rooftops from my hotel roof. I was in one of those rooms, and I was the only foreign tourist staying there, apart from 2 local people. The lady who ran this shop on the square also had custody of the hotel key and let me in. One of the main activities I wanted to film was the spinning of yarn from raw wool. This often takes place on the street while waiting for a bus. I also wanted to film the production of small bread loaves, pancitas. I'd been told where to look. There was one of the traditional clay ovens in a backyard. There we are, that's the right number. And there's the oven with the fire already lit. Production of the pancitas had started at 4 in the morning and was already well underway. Here they're filling cheese empanadas, a kind of small pasty. Once the oven is hot enough, the fire is raked to one side. Then the floor of the oven is thoroughly cleaned with this brush. Then in go the pancitas.
¿De qué parte de Europa es?
De Inglaterra. Sí. He estado muchas veces en América del Sur, todos los países. La primera vez hace 35 años. About 2 minutes later, out they come again, golden brown. Not far from the bakery, I encountered these two young girls spinning as they walked down the street. That night it rained for hours, and I thought next morning's Sunday market would be cancelled, but not so. These Highland people are tough. While the women wear their traditional colourful clothing all the time, the men only do so on a Sunday. The language being spoken all around me is not Spanish but Quechua, the language of the Incas. More than 2 million people in Bolivia speak Quechua. Many of them don't speak anything else. Before leaving Tarabuco, there was time for a quick lunch, almuerzo, in a small local cafe. On the way back to Sucre, we had to stop several times for landslides to be cleared, caused by the overnight rain.